Pablo Picasso once said that good artists copy and great artists steal. And you know, some artists aren't really fond of that phrase, but as a YouTuber, stealing, it's my modus operandi. And as we know, YouTubers, they create tier lists. That's what they do because they are fun, they generate discussion, and it's an easy way for the YouTuber to incorporate the viewers into their thinking process. So I cooked up something special for you guys. Instead of me choosing what visual novels I rank today, I chose 5 YouTubers, yoinked the top 5 visual novels from their tier list, and ranked them all for myself. Note, for any visual novel I haven't read or has already been taken from another YouTuber, we'll just keep going down the tier list until we get 5 unique ones from that tier list. So here's how I chose the YouTubers. I typed in visual novel tier list. That's it. Chose the first 5. Here are our 5 YouTubers. Meirin, Cub, Ange, The August Tale, the top visual novel from each of his 5 tier lists because he has 20 million of them, and Arisu Oshiro. If I sound hyperactive, it's because I've had too much coffee. I feel like Fry from that Futurama episode.
You been up all night?
Of course I've been up all night. Not because of caffeine, it was insomnia.
Anyway, let's begin. Here are the visual novels I got from each YouTuber after removing the duplicates and ones I haven't read. From Meirin, we got Clannad, Muv-Luv Alternative, Genosha, Chaos Head Noah, and Little Busters. These are the hard-hitting ones, and Genosha. From Cub, we got Danganronpa 1 and 2, Musicus, the Ace Attorney Trilogy, and Wonderful Every Day. Really love that Musicus is in this tier list. From Ange, we got Magikoi, If My Heart Had Wings, Nukitashi, A Sky Full of Stars, and Boku-ten. A very solid offering. From The August Tale, we got Chaos Child, Aokana, Sayano Uta, 99 Episode 4, and the Higurashi Answer Arcs. And for those last 2, he didn't rate the series as a whole, just the individual episodes / the answer arcs, so that's what we're going with. Lastly, for Arisu Oshiro, we got The Fruit of Grisaya, 99, VLR, Steins Gate, and Steins Gate 0. Now since we're rating some of the best titles, we're going to take this tier list up a notch so I can properly distinguish between each title. The tier list from top to bottom will be triple S, meaning my absolute favorites, double S, meaning I think it's up there with the best, S, meaning it's a fantastic visual novel, A, meaning the visual novel is great and worth a read, B, meaning the visual novel is good and might be worth looking into after you've read everything else, and C, meaning there are better things to read. And if you, yes, you beautiful, want to rank these visual novels alongside me, a link to the tier list template is in the description, and I'd love to hear your own rankings, which you can comment below or post at me on X. Just don't get mad when I tell you you're wrong. Today we'll be starting with Meirin, and wow, these are some hard-hitting choices. Clannad at the top is like cheating, but I get it. I really do. Clannad was my first key visual novel, and it holds a dear place in my heart. I'm not afraid to admit I cried at pretty much every ending. The visual novel is an emotional roller coaster after all, and even more, the protagonist, Tomoya Okazaki, is such an interesting character who grows a lot throughout the plot. Clannad gets a triple S, and it's not even a question. Muv-Luv Alternative is another incredible visual novel. At this point, I just feel like Meirin went on VNDB, sorted by top rated, and stole somebody's homework. But irregardless of that, I can't stomp on Muv-Luv Alternative's merit. It's the only mecha thing I ever read, and I love it. Again, the protagonist's growth is incredible, but that holds true for the heroines as well. Even Miki, who is the common joke character, gets a whole freaking arc. And none of this is even mentioning the world building. Again, triple S. Now it's time for Genosha. Mom, Meirin's been into the catnip again. Genosha is an insane choice here, but not an entirely unreasonable one. Genosha is essentially the alien version of werewolf. And if you don't know what werewolf is, check out my Raging Loop video. Why this choice is odd is that it's hard to call Genosha a visual novel considering the amount of gameplay there is. It's a lot of fun and has a very interesting plot, but even comparing to Ace Attorney and Danganronpa, it just has so much gameplay. So I'm putting Genosha at the bottom of this visual novel tier list, but it is a good game. Next is Chaos Head, and there'll be a little caveat here. I haven't read Noah. Meirin ranked Chaos Head Noah at the top of his list, but I'm not sure if his ranking would hold without the Noah part, so keep that in mind. Chaos Head is such an insane visual novel, but definitely worthy of being the first entry in the science adventure series. The protagonist is insanely frustrating, but in the sort of way that makes you want to hate read the story. It wraps up real nicely in the end, and yeah, really I should go back and read Noah. Chaos Head gets an A today. Meirin's last visual novel is Little Busters, and all I can say is, yes, queen. Little Busters is the best key visual novel, the arguable best friendship story, with the best heroines, that has the most fun while being so. The anime is mid as hell, so read the visual novel. Top of SSS, and my favorite visual novel of all time. Meirin's choices are respectable, and there's also Genosha. Overall, Meirin, pretty good. From what I can gauge with these choices, you are the kind of person to go to the theater to see a rerun of Titanic, cry the entire time, and then 2 hours later, you're stabbing your crack dealer at the back of an alleyway. Cub is next, and they got some interesting choices for the top of their tier list. Danganronpa is always the fun choice. There are many criticisms you can say about the writing, but in general, the game is just a large, fun journey of mystery and doubt. The first Danganronpa in particular is such a solid package with a tightly knit story, incredible music, and interesting class trials. Danganronpa 1 gets a B. Still solid, but compared to some of these others, it would definitely be at the back of my backlog. If Danganronpa 1 is great, Danganronpa 2 is even better. The story is better, the setting is more interesting, the class trials are beyond interesting. The only crime Danganronpa 2 commits is not keeping one character around for the whole game. And I can't talk about that because spoilers. Danganronpa 2 is an easy A and easily the most consistently best game in the Danganronpa series. Next is Musicus, and thank you so much, Cub, for putting this on my list. Musicus is such an interesting visual novel about the realities of being a musician and what you have to sacrifice to get there. You'll find no better in the genre of visual novels for that topic. Obviously, it has an incredible soundtrack, but that soundtrack will just hit you harder as you learn more about Musicus and its incredibly complex characters. Honestly, I'm still not ready for what the story presented, and I finished it back in September. Musicus gets a double S, easily one of the best in the visual novel medium. Ace Attorney is next, and as visual novels, I wouldn't call them great. This is another case of there being a lot of gameplay, but the cases are incredibly interesting, and you absolutely should experience Ace Attorney in your life. I'm just not sure playing it is the ideal way to do so. The anime is fantastic as well, and gets the intrigue and funness of the series across for a lot less work. The Ace Attorney visual novels get a B, but it's definitely a story you should experience at one point, if not just for the Phoenix and Maya quips. Last is Wonderful Every Day, and wow, that's a throwback. I remember reading Wonderful Every Day in the living room of my 4-person dorm and fearlessly clicking through every demented H scene while doing so. I wish I had half the courage I had back then. Wonderful Every Day is a story of which you can only experience once, and you'll never be able to experience it for the first time again. It's got sadness, philosophy, insanity. It's mostly insanity. Everyone should read Wonderful Every Day. It's genre-defining and absolutely deserving of its spot in double S. Cub, are you doing okay? All these visual novels incorporate unhappy themes, and at worst, these visual novels can be very despairing and depressing. Let me know if you need a hug. Next is Super Ange 128, or Ange for short. And I'm going to be entirely honest, I'm not surprised at all at these choices. Ange's top visual novel of all time is Magikoi. This is pretty much just me in an alternate timeline. Magikoi, much like Little Busters, is a story about friendship. It incorporates a very large and interesting cast with an overarching plot that eventually has everyone come together to endure. Whereas Little Busters can definitely lean on the sad side, Magikoi stays on the "this is insane but really fucking fun" side. The scenarios the main cast find themselves in, such as battle royales and capture the flag, is played out in an extreme scale, and at no point will you find time to be bored with Magikoi's plot. Magikoi is a triple S through and through, and if you haven't read it yet, go do it now. If My Heart Had Wings is the best moage I've ever read, full stop. The cast is dynamic, the main heroine is adorable, and the hijinks are aplenty. If the visual novel didn't have Agaha's route, it would arguably be the most perfect visual novel ever made. At least that's what the 14-year-old French girls are saying in the schoolyard. If you want a good romance story, you can't pass this up, ladies and gentlemen. And if you want to know more, go check out my video on it. Link in the description. Nukitashi is like the ultimate end goal to all eroge. Everybody fucks, and they sure as shit don't need a reason to do it. But what if sex was evil? And if you're Christian, it is. Well, that's the entire goal. The protagonist and his group of cohorts do whatever they can to battle boobs, crush cock, and implore impotence. Nukitashi doesn't take itself seriously at all, and by doubling down on that, it creates one of the most fun stories in the entirety of visual novels. This is a triple S. If you need to read one visual novel this year, make it Nukitashi. You won't regret it. A Sky Full of Stars is another visual novel made by the same team as If My Heart Had Wings, but frankly, I don't find it as good. I'm not finished yet, so this is a liminal ranking, but I just don't care about the theme as much, and the heroines feel weaker to me. If I wanted to read a plot like this, I'd read Hoshi Memo instead, and I have, and it's great, but A Sky Full of Stars just isn't it, at least for me, and that's why it goes straight to the B tier. Lastly is Bokuten, and my god, this one is depressing. Well written, but depressing. It's like the author literally hates love and wanted to make it known, so he produced a great visual novel so us weebs could share in his depression. There is a lot to love about Bokuten, however, including its cast of characters and ways it approaches love. The childhood friend Naruko is one of my favorite childhood friend characters, and the routes here, whilst they vary in quality, are very interesting to say the least. My favorite character is Momo. Bokuten will be getting an S from me today. Ange, gotta hand it to you. You know what you like, and you like what you know. A man who knows his place as a happy man, and who am I to deny that happiness? Next up is the August Hale, and he's got some pretty interesting choices. First is Chaos Child, and I'm not gonna lie, I read Chaos Child before Chaos Head, and I have no regrets in doing so. It certainly made the plot twist, since I wasn't aware of D-swords and what have you until they became integral to the plot, but I kind of liked it that way. I like how it starts, I like how it ends. The heroines, great. No is the best, and I'll be taking no-nos to that. Chaos Child gets a solid A. Next is Aokana, and August, what the fuck? You're just gonna sandwich Aokana with one of the happiest heroines in visual novels, with titles like Higurashi and Saya's Song? It's like showing up to a top hat convention in a bowler cap. You just don't do that. But because you did, let's see what you have to say.
Asuka is my favorite.
Now that's a fucking W, August. Aokana is the best in the entire genre at what it does, and what it does is create a made-up sport called Flying Circus and build an entire world around that, romance and all. The heroines, music, side characters are all great, and even the fan discs are really well done. Aokana is the easiest S of my life. Sayano Uta is the best short visual novel in the medium, and if my opinion means nothing to you, ask literally anybody else and they'll probably tell you the same thing. I waited 4.5 years to read it, and I regret it. Also, justice for lollies, especially when they are monstrosities. Sayano Uta gets the top of double S. 9-9 episode 4 is an interesting choice, but you know, I can't really blame you for it. Being the conclusion to 9-9, obviously it's gonna be intense, but what's more is that it sold me on Yuki's character, which I thought I really wasn't gonna like. 9-9 in general is such a great visual novel, and if you like it, check out my video on Criminal Border, which is another novel from the same team, link in the description. 9-9 episode 4 gets an A because it is extremely solid. Lastly, August picks the Higurashi answer arcs. What do I even say? It's Higurashi. The bigger surprise is that nobody chose Umineko so far. Higurashi is the visual novel with a small town setting and was undisputed in being the best mystery visual novel until Yukishi literally just went and wrote a fucking another one. It's been a huge inspiration in the genre to visual novels like Raging Loop for ages, and there is good reason for it. Higurashi Kai gets double S, and for the record, the question arcs would get a triple S. August, here's what I've learned about you. You like a lot of things. You remind me of my ex-girlfriend because I'd go and ask her, hey dear, wanna go get some Chinese? Sure. Actually, maybe we should do Indian. Okay. Nah, I think it's Greek Day. Sounds good. Give me some direction, woman. But these are all solid but safe picks. I respect it. Last on our list of lovely YouTubers is a VTuber by the name of Arisu, who has graduated and now known as Toffee. As you may know, I'm a fan of VTubers. And when I see a vampire-looking lolly in gothic Lolita clothing, I get a bit giddy. So here's hoping her picks are promising. The first visual novel here is The Fruit of Grisaya, and yes, I'm a pitcher for the Mitcher, baby. The Fruit of Grisaya stands on its own as one of the best visual novels in the medium, with a mysterious and interesting protagonist, large variance in the heroine personalities, Matsushima Michiru, a memorable soundtrack, angelic howl, Michiru, incredible voice actors, a unique setting. Excuse me, sir, but do you have time to listen about our Lord and Savior Michiru? Fruit gets an S, and of course we couldn't have a tier list without Steins Gate. The science adventure series created a whole subset of visual novel fans, and Steins Gate did most of the lifting there. Its plot is fun, its cast is interesting, it has possibly the most memorable soundtrack in the entire visual novel medium. I love everything about it. I love Okabe, I love Kyoma, I love Ferris, double S. If Steins Gate is so great, why isn't there a second one? There is, bitch. Steins Gate 0 is very tonally different from Steins Gate in the beginning, introducing new characters and new conflicts. It's very common to hear people say Steins Gate 0 isn't as good as Steins Gate. And on fundamentally every level, that's true. But that doesn't mean Steins Gate 0 is bad, and it's absolutely worth reading if you are a fan of the series. So, because of that, Steins Gate 0 gets an A. Alright guys, here's a joke. What do you get when you take 9 and add another 9 to it? A terrible visual novel. I'm not a fan of the Zero Escape games, but it's undeniable that 999 is good. Very interesting premise and mystery that's slowly unveiled throughout the story, and if you like puzzles, there are puzzles. But I don't like puzzles, at least not these ones. B. Alright, so we made another 9-9 game for you. Wait, what? We heard you like the puzzles? So now they are harder, and there are more of them. Wait a minute, we heard some people didn't understand the story last time, so we made changes so nobody understands the story this time. Stop. Also, our player base told us that 2D is old school, so we decided to give you some very well-made 3D models. Fucking hell. We still had to sell copies though, so Clover's in it again. How does any of this make sense, Rabbit? Fuck this game. See, Arisu's favorites are the popular stuff, and that's great. I love them too. I hate when people call me a normie just for liking Steins Gate and not some weird worm BDSM visual novel. Let us like things. I will happily stay in the corner with Arisu and read our Steins Gate while you go and argue the plot significance of breast size in your tentacle porn visual novel. One group here is winning in life. That brings us to the end. Here is the final tier list. The conclusion that can be drawn from this is that many people like many things. Our differences make us special, and we all have a reason to exist. But as long as those differences exist, there will be a YouTuber ranking choices, being overly dramatic for views, because that's life. So, dear viewer, you're beautiful, I love you, goodbye. All the YouTubers I mentioned are linked to in the description below. Go check them out if you aren't subscribed to them. And if you could, a like would be nice. This was a lot of work, and it lets me know if you guys want to see more of this kind of content.